2 rounds in and there's some exhilarating footy being played by teams at the top end of the ladder, while a couple of so-called contenders are in struggle town. Plenty to discuss. This is Access All Areas, thanks to Crypto.com.
Nick Dacos arches his back. Josh kicked the last one. Nick Dacos this time.
Kangaroos clear it. Will it go out? That might be deliberate. That might be deliberate. Another look for the youngster. Another goal for the youngster. Mateus Philippo. Welcome.
Great to have your company. Damien Barrett and Matthew Lloyd are with me. Welcome to you both.
Thanks, Thank you.
Let's dive straight into things this morning. And Lloydie, we're going to start with your Bombers because they stunned the Suns with a fourth quarter blitz. And there are a couple of players we'd like to highlight. The first one, Kyle Langford.
Oh, probably he turned the game there yesterday. I was just there as a spectator in that, and they were really struggling at times to score. And the Gold Coast Suns were the better side for a lot of the probably first 2.5 to 3 quarters, and then Langford just went forward, and it was a really tough matchup. They're probably so used to having a Wiedemann or a Peter Wright, those tall forwards from other clubs, but no one could handle him, Damo. He's a beautiful kick, he's a smart lead, and that 5 goals too was a difference in the game.
You mentioned those 2 players out, Wiedemann being a late withdrawal, Stringer already out of the game, Tipping Woody coming out of the team that played last week with injury. It was a forced rejig, and yet it could be something that actually helps Brad Scott set up what is to lie ahead.
No doubt, sometimes opportunity presents and you see something different in a player. And this is Brandon Thatcher. We just wanted to highlight as well. He did a wonderful job on Ben King. And I thought, he's only played 30 games of footy, Nat, but it was the best game I've seen him play at AFL level. Unfortunately, hurt his ankle late in the game. Hopefully he'll be okay and won't miss too many.
Yeah, he had his ankle in a bucket of ice after the game. Something that surprised a few people, including former skipper Dyson Porter during the game, was when he was subbed out. He did not see this coming. Damo, more of a management issue?
Oh, no doubt, and clearly at the age and phase of that man on screen there, Dyson Heppel, and the club, it's the right decision. It's an ego shatterer for him, though, isn't it? I mean, you can see that. I mean, and as always with Dyson, Lordy, he will treat it professionally and well, but it was a shock to him, and he may probably best get used to it, though.
But, I think it's more than management, Nat. I don't think he would have got subbed out if Brad Scott thought he was flying and dominating the game. It's a really fast, dynamic game of footy now, AFL football, and that's going to be Dyson's challenge this year. He'll work through it, but I don't think he'll play every game this season. I think they'll manage him through it.
To the West now, and on Saturday night it was a controversial finish to the game at Optus Stadium. Of course, North Melbourne holding on to win by 1 point, but the last 5 seconds of the game, we need to take a look at that. The AFL has ticked off on this decision for not paying a free kick to Fremantle for insufficient intent. Let's take a look.
Yours. Pay it.
Before it went out of bounds. That's the call we made. Yeah. Thank you. The siren go before it went out of bounds. I couldn't hear it. Yeah, no worries. No, we can't. There's no to check. We can consult, but that's it. Over. Yep. Game over.
I want to get both of your thoughts on the explanation here from the AFL. And I was also curious that the umpire there said at one point, did you hear the siren? No, I didn't. OK, no worries.
Yeah. Look, it's great that we get access to that. Yeah. And I think it is cleared up and there's a line drawn on it. But my ears don't totally marry up with what I'm being told to listen to on that, Nat. And I still feel the free kick should have been paid. Now, I know the rules will say, we'll take a look at the official rule now, and it basically, it's a wordy way of saying that the ball is dead if the siren goes while it's in mid-air. Now, some people may feel they heard the siren as it was still in mid-air. Some people may feel it was sounded as it crossed the line, maybe just a moment after. But again, it wasn't ultimately, Nat, the reason that this game was lost by Fremantle. They'd done enough bad before that moment for that to be the case. So, yeah, Personally, I feel they should have been given the free kick, but I can absolutely understand how the AFL came down with that decision on the night and have explained it that way.
Now, just before that actually happened, Lloydie, you noticed the Dockers actually cost themselves some crucial seconds on the clock. Just take us through what you've seen.
Yeah, now if you're there at the game, you can see the cards get held up, 30 seconds to go. So every player at Fremantle should have known how long there was to go. So let's take a look at this. There's 22 seconds. So that card, 30 seconds to go, would be up. Let's play it out of how this happened. Just before that contentious deliberate out of bounds should have been paid, shouldn't it? So the ball gets kicked out by North Melbourne. There's Jordan Clark racing over. So now we're down to 13 seconds. He should know, just drive that ball in there. Just get it in there, and that gives you those extra seconds. We lose vision here, the cameras did, but here we go. That ball was kicked to Luke Ryan in defence. Already we're down to 7 seconds. So they lost those 6 seconds that would have been there if Jordan Clark had kicked it in first. And if those 6 seconds were still there, well, then some player is having a shot there and launching. I saw Hayden Ballantyne kick it behind from there at that exact spot. So I reckon if Jordan Clark had got it in, we could be talking very differently this morning.
Damo, from a North perspective, they're 2-0 at the moment. Nobody saw this coming, and they play Hawthorn next, so they could be 3-0.
Yeah.
What have you made of their start so far?
Oh, it's just extraordinary in that context, isn't it, Nat? They've now won as many games as they won for the entirety of last season when they won their second consecutive wooden spoon. And what Luke Davies-Uniacke has now done in the first 2 rounds of this year, following up 2 good seasons of footy prior to it, and obviously Harry Sheezel's form, Lordo. But yeah, the interest levels in that round 3 game at Launceston, Alistair Clarkson going up against A, Hawthorn, and B, Sam Mitchell. There's a massive amount of intrigue as to what's going to happen in round 3 in that game.
Are we calling it the Clarko Cup?
There's a grudge element to the whole... the grudge game, I think, might be a better moniker for it, Nat.
Yeah, all right. Well, switching our focus now to the Sydney Swans. It was a case of no worries. Joel Amati and Logan McDonald, they caused plenty of headaches, Lloydie, for the Hawks' defence. 9 goals and 14 marks between them.
If I'm 17 other clubs' list bosses, I'm watching this now with interest and going, OK, if Amati gets dropped or Logan McDonald gets dropped again, or you'd even just be calling... I'd be calling this morning and saying, we would play your boy for 22 weeks. We would play your player. So I don't think these two should be playing in the seconds, but you've got Lance Franklin sitting there. As you said, they were outstanding. They just need opportunity, the both of them.
All right, we'll be selected now for the Swans. Who comes out for round 3?
Well, I'd be saying to... Well, probably this. Amati was subbed out, so that's not great for him. But he's too good. He's too good to be playing in the second. So
does McLean come out as a balance issue?
Yeah, that maybe he does, because he doesn't have the natural ability of what Amati and Logan McDonald do.
But you're not giving up on Buddy, surely.
I think for some
he kicked 50 goals again last year, Lordo, for the 17th time in the game.
But it's still. I suppose it got him to a grand final. But I just think he draws the ball so much. I think those players are better, and the team can often be better when Buddy isn't playing.
So if it wasn't Buddy Franklin, sorry, Nat, if it wasn't Buddy Franklin, would you? If it was just John Smith, would you not play him?
Well, all I'm saying is John Longmire has a major issue on his hands with Buddy Franklin, because these two should be playing AFL football, and maybe they're a more rounded team when Buddy doesn't play. I know that's a big statement, but I think John's got to think of what will take his team to a premiership. And could these guys go past Buddy by the end of this season?
I can't have it, Lord. I need Buddy Franklin playing footy every single week. So, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's intriguing, and of course that the Sydney Swans face Melbourne this weekend, which is going to be even more exciting. The Eagles, well, they've bounced back after a poor opening round of footy. That loss, of course, to North Melbourne, but they had a 19-point win over the Giants yesterday. And Liam Duggan, well, he proved the bump is not completely dead, Damo, and unfortunately it was Jacob Ware who was again on the receiving end.
Yeah, it's incredible for that to happen to him in consecutive weeks after the Shane McAdam incident. At least this one was a little bit lower in the body, but it was still just as painful in a sense, wasn't it?
And he got subbed off with a shoulder injury too. Again, so do you think that Liam Duggan's running the gauntlet there?
Yeah, right on the edge. I don't see it being an issue today as in 2023 standards, but I can see it by, say, 2028 standards, that also being part of the focus.
It's why the bump will never be dead, because the players will still go for it. And if you can get away with it like Duggan did, it was a fair bump.
It wasn't a charge, was it?
No.
As opposed to last week, yeah.
Now, there are a couple of teams who we thought would be right up there, but unfortunately they're struggling at the moment, and the Bulldogs are one of those, Lloydie. 0-2, they've failed to deliver so far, and they looked really disjointed against the Saints. What did you see on Saturday night?
Yeah, they just did not know how to move the footy. So we see all the good sides that are playing great football like Collingwood, and you just see the way that it's just blistering ball movement. They were spooked by St Kilda, and it was forced into errors like this. So we just knew the Western Bulldogs is a beautiful ball movement side, but they are lost. They are lost, and last year they were lost. This year they just, look at this, it's boring, dull football.
And when you say they were spooked, Lord, what aspect of it spooked them?
Just Ross Lyon's defensive methods just didn't allow for them to move the footy, and as a result, Bailey Smith's off. Caleb Daniels off, Bailey Dale, even Bontempelli. They're not playing great football because there's a lack of spark. And I think Luke Beveridge has got to have his team take more risks than they're currently playing with, because you wouldn't want to be a forward in that forward line at the moment.
So they play the Brisbane Lions on Thursday night at Marvel Stadium. Do we still like the three-pronged attack that they've got going, or do you want to see a change?
Well, it was 4. I didn't like that one after 1 week.
Well, Rory's out.
Now it's Rory's out, went to 3, and still 3 was too big. I think with the way...
And Sam Darcy was subbed out against St Kilda.
So I'd consider...
Do you put him back?
And maybe could Josh Bruce go out of the side for Darcy to go to the back line, and you just go with Ugle-Hagan and Norton maybe, and Smalls around them.
Well, from a team that has yet to make their mark to a team that made a huge statement at the MCG on Saturday, and that is Collingwood. And I want to talk about their pressure, because there was so much talk after the game about how they smashed Port Adelaide in ground ball gets and contested possession. But, Lloydie, their pressure was immense.
Nat, when you kick 21 goals and the opposition kicks 9, that's when you know your whole game is set. Like the week before, it was a high-scoring sort of game that they were involved in, whereas this is just, they just gave Port nothing and they kicked 21 goals themselves. So, they've got every base covered, and they all play their roles beautifully, because you've got a lot of aggressive players like Dacos, but look at the Murphys and the Moores and the Maynards. They're just unrelenting, Damo, and they're the best side to watch going around.
That last passage there was just infectious, wasn't it? Everyone wanted to up the other one. Nick Dacos, now 27 matches into a career lotto, 25 last year. The 2 he's played this year could have 6 Brownlow medals attached to them. Chris Judd won a Brownlow in his 3rd year. Could Dacos do it in his 2nd?
Well, if he can handle the attention. So they tried.
He can handle the attention.
Lockie Jones tried to tag him in the first quarter, and it just made a mess of him. So, but Finn McGuinness got him in a pre-season game and held him. So, I think
pre-season doesn't count.
I know, but I'm just saying there will be some
prototype.
days where someone's going to terrorise him, and how they can get through it.
Just quickly on Port Adelaide, coming into the season, their key backs were an area of concern. If we look at contested marks, they had just 4 to the Pies' 15, and Collingwood was able to take 14 marks inside 50, and Kane Cornes had an interesting solution to the Powers' issues in defence on the round so far.
You mentioned the Port Adelaide backline. Do they need to make some positional switches there? Do you think they need to send like a Mitch Georgiades back?
100%. I've been saying it for at least a month now. I think Georgiades could be a Jeremy Howe type. He's got the athletic attributes. And the one area that Port Adelaide was always underdone with was their height. Now, Mackenzie came out of the side. It means you've only got Jonas, who's about 188, and Aaliyah and Ryan Burton. They're not tall enough. So Mitch Georgiades' confidence is really low. I'd definitely be exploring a move back before you dropped him and brought Jeremy Finlayson back in.
Interesting thoughts from Kane Cornes on the round so far. Make sure you check that out on afl.com.au and the AFL app across the weekend. Let's talk about Geelong now. And they haven't exactly started their premiership defence off in the style that they would have wanted. Lloydie, and you've noticed a couple of concerns for the Cats.
I have that. Maybe a good old-fashioned spray is needed from Chris Scott to his Geelong players, who maybe have got ahead of themselves and aren't working to the level they need to. Let's take a look at this Corey Durden goal and some of the work rate of Geelong. So that's not good enough. So in the past, you'd see Tom Stewart and all these players, Kolodjasny, Blixarves organising the play. Too many players too close to each other in this setup. Carlton players forward of the ball, and you ask why you pay the price. They're still walking, those Geelong players back there. So they get outnumbered. We pause this one. Look at that, 5-on-2. And you'll be outnumbered because you're not working hard enough, which the Geelong players aren't. And Durden bobs up and kicks that goal. So that is a work rate. That is a structural issue. But work rate one, this is the next one. So here's a centre bounce. The ball's there. You look at it, it's working. Why is there 4 Carlton players after a centre bounce play? again, that is either they've got ahead of themselves or they don't want to do the little team things anymore. And that's what a premiership often does. You get selfish and you play for yourself. So then you see Zach Fisher stroll down. That would not have happened in Geelong's 16-game winning streak last year. So the ball gets popped over, Fisher runs into an open goal, and we'll show down the ground vision of some of the players at Geelong who aren't working as hard. Why is De Koning, as a centre-half back in particular, why is he up in this situation? So look at him. Why is he so forward of the ball when it's in dispute? Danger, I haven't seen Dangerfield spread hard defensively for 2 games now to work hard to get back behind the ball, and that is why they've been badly exposed in the last 2 weeks, Nat, because they're not structurally there and they're not working hard enough. So
what you're saying there, Lotto, is this is a far greater problem than just the conditioning and getting ready for the season after a premiership win?
For me, it is. I've seen Chris Scott in press conference. He's trying to keep it in control, and it's not about them. It's about we can do this and that. But yeah, they want to really turn it up this week, and I'd turn the heat on those players this morning because it hasn't been good enough.
I like it. Yeah. Thanks, Lloydie. Now, before we do move on, it's not too late to register for the official 2023 AFL tipping competition with thanks to Crypto.com. You can have the chance to share in over $40,000, if you don't mind, worth of prizes. Just head to tipping.afl.com.au. It is now time, though, for quick gives. All right, lads, I'm going to hit you with a handful of questions. Some of them yes/no answers, including the first one. I'll start with you, Damo. Can Geelong still win the flag?
Well, until I saw Lloydie a minute ago, I would have said absolutely yes. I'm still going to say yes, though, Nat, yeah.
I'll say yes, but they're running out of time.
All right, if Melbourne had run over the top of the Lions after the lights-out restart, would it have been a compromise result, Damo?
No, it wouldn't have been. The game had to be finished in the time frame with which it was allowed to be played in, and just get used to it. Get ready, stay professional, get yourself ready to go.
No for me as well.
Off the back of Jason Horne-Francis being booed by Pies fans, is the crowd booing of individual players an issue or harmless theatre?
I hate it, Nat. I'm not a booer per se. I find it a form of bullying, particularly in the form it was delivered to Jason Horne-Francis. And as such, I think it's more than harmless theatre. I think it's a major issue, and I hope people stop it.
It's happened for years, so harmless theatre for mine, Nat.
If they can ease their injury carnage, could the Saints make the 8, Damo?
No.
No for me as well.
Oh, I like that. OK, decisive. All right, Lloydie, this one's just for you. Should Richmond pump minutes into Samson Ryan as Tom Lynch's right-hand man in attack?
I don't think Revolt's ready to move on just yet, and they played all. I think Howie can support Nankervis in the ruck and play forward, so they'll just play him enough this year, and then with Revolt retiring most likely at the end of the year, he'll play every game next season. Damo,
just for you, will we see Taron Thomas on an AFL field this season?
Line ball at best, and I'll go with no to answer the question specifically.
All right, Lloydie, should Brennan Cox be shifted into the Freo attack because of their struggling forward line?
It's 0 and 2, Nat. I think it's desperate times for Fremantle, and I will say yes to that.
Should Luke Jackson be moved to the back line, both of you?
That is a switch that could potentially happen.
Really? I'd say no. He's just going to lift his game, that's all.
And finally, who wins between St Kilda and Essendon?
Essendon.
Essendon.
Nice, I like it. Time now for our Crypto Brave play, and we go back to Thursday night. And at the death against the Cats, the Blues needed someone to stand tall, and this man right here, Harry Mackay, was it. 4 huge contested marks, Lloydie, and he really did a good job.
He did, and Geelong had all the momentum, so he had to change the way he was playing. So he couldn't stay deep because it was all Geelong. Geelong were coming, so suddenly the ball was living in their defensive half of Carlton, so he just had to come up and he saved them. He took seconds off the clock, and this is great leadership from Cripps to say, we don't think it's all about goals. We noticed what you did, and it was a real match winner late.
That was excellent. And just to finish things off, today we like to have a little bit of a laugh. What is more embarrassing, Damo? What do you reckon? A Falcon goal assist to the opposition? If you see here, Scott Lycett unfortunately cops it, and then, of course, punished on the other side, or looking like a goose when you lose it in the sun, and that one will come up next here with Ben Keys.
I feel sorry for Keysy here because he had just no idea. So in terms of the greater embarrassment, I'm going to go the Falcon on Lycett, Nat, because I do feel for Keezy now.
What do you reckon?
I'd be more embarrassed with Keezy. I've dropped a few catches in my cricket career blaming the sun, so I'll be more embarrassed with that.
Oh, the Falcon for mine, hands down. That is all we have time for on Access All Areas. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, afl.com.au and the AFL Live app is the place to go for all of your footy news throughout the week. We'll see you again next Monday.